Hello everybody and welcome back to our first paid StarCraft Underground tournament. We are in round 3 of the tournament. That's right, the final 4. Today's matchup for you is going to be WolFix and Azhi. Here in the top right is our blue Terran, Azhi Dahaki. Bottom left is our red Terran, WolFix. This first match is going to be taking place on Eclipse. This is a 2-player map, with the natural down the ramp just outside the main for both players, and a third just up the way. Fourth base just a little bit beyond that. And the mineral patch is out in no man's land. Now, a brief history about both of these players while we wait for them to get powered up. For WolFix, in round 1, WolFix versed Kamura, where WolFix got their first match victory by an early tank push. Second match victory came by a proxy Rax, both of those matches ending before the 10-minute mark. Round 2 versus LML had WolFix getting a first match victory in a mid-game with a good army mix of Marines, tanks, science vessels, Valkyries, and medics. Second match victory in round 2 versus LML came by an early game vulture drop on the mineral line, LML not able to defend against that. Here, on the other hand, for Azhi Dahaki, round 1 versus Killa Ace, Azhi got their first victory by a mid-game army mix with Marines, medics, science vessel, and tanks. Victory number 2 came by an early to mid-game mass Marine push, where Killa's Hydras were not enough to stop the mass Marine push across the map. Round 2 for Azhi came against Ziggy. First match victory came by a mid-game tech push with vultures and tanks. And second match victory came by an early game tech push with a few Marines mixed in with vultures and a few tanks, followed by SCVs for repairs. And now to this game. Both players having their SCVs sent across the map for scouting. Both building their racks a little closer to the exit. Might see those fly across the map here to gain a mid-to-game scout. Marine production already underway for both players. Got a factory going up for Azhi Dahaki. And there is WolFix factory. So similar builds for both players so far. This Marine not going to get too much scouting done here. And this one, same case. So both SCV scouts get ran off or shot down. WolFix lifting off their barracks. Going to go ahead and float that up here to Azhi's base. See what's going on. Likely not going to get to see too much of a variance until both these players get their factory done. May see one going to tanks and one going to vultures. So, it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out for both of these players. They both prefer early to mid-game pressure. So if I had to guess, I'm going to say neither of these games are going to go over 15-minute mark. Okay. Azhi Dahaki starting the natural expansion. Both choose to go vulture. WolFix in favor of throwing down a starport, though. Similar army for both players at the moment. Okay. Azhi choosing to go double fact here. Both barracks are lumbering across the field. WolFix going to move out with some vultures. Maybe lay some mines down. Not sure if they... Nope, no mine research yet, so likely just going to scout with these vultures. Okay, control tower going down. WolFix might be trying to push out an early science vessel. WolFix going to be testing the defenses of Azhi here. Get some good shots off on those vultures. Snipes one Marine out. Azhi definitely going to be able to defend this, though. Loses a couple Marines and a Vulture to WolFix's 2 Vultures. Okay, Vulture taking a stray shot at its own racks for some reason. And speaking of... Sorry, that was a factory. Speaking of racks, though, here comes WolFix's racks floating in here to Azhi's base. Going to see the 3 factories here in just a second. Azhi going to be moving out with 3 Vultures. Azhi's rack's not quite here yet. Looks like we got a bunker down with 1 Marine for WolFix and a tank. And it looks like it's going to be Cloak Wraith play for WolFix. Barracks is not going to see the Wraith. By the time this Wraith gets up here, Cloak should be done or just about done, and there's no air defense just yet for Azhi. And the Barracks is already gone, too. So this could actually be trouble for Azhi. This Wraith's going to get a lot of good pressure on this mineral line right here. No engineering bay yet, so no missile turrets. Meanwhile, Azhi laying down a heck ton of mines outside of WolFix's base here. Doesn't really matter, though. WolFix not going to move out on the ground. WolFix going to be using the Wraith here to just pick off SCVs at the mineral line until Azhi's going to be able to do something about this. Azhi not starting a racks here or an eBay. Another Wraith on the way. So Azhi a little late on the response here by the Wraith play. Gonna see what their plan is here. Meanwhile, another factory going down for WolFix. Academy being almost built for WolFix. Okay, so here come the Goliaths. Goliaths are finally out, but stealth is done for the Wraiths. So the harassment's going to continue for now. These Wraiths just getting so much value right now. Azhi's going to have to build a comstat station or an engineering bay quickly. Yeah, there's the eBay off at the 3rd, so going to try to hide that in a protected area. That way, WolFix doesn't see it and shoot down the SCVs that are trying to build it. And while these Wraiths are getting kills, this mineral line, or sorry, mine layer, whatever, definitely going to be deadly if WolFix ever tries to move out on foot. Okay, so Cloak goes up for some of these Wraiths. Still getting so much value out of this, though. There's the comstat station. Going to scan it. And the Wraith play should probably come to an end with that. But good value there. Azhi definitely suffering. Okay. So it looks like the minefield's going to get scouted by WolFix here. Going to start moving out with the tanks now. Just going to slowly advance tanks here. I'm hearing... there we go. The Wraith's shooting down the racks. Okay. Waiting for a scan here. Yep, there it is. Scanned by WolFix for these mines. So it looks like both these players are going to be going into tech this game. Favoring Vultures and tank play. Let's take a look at WolFix's base. We've been away from that for a hot minute. So it looks like we have 3 factories. Make that 4 factories, 5 factories. Command center, probably for the 3rd, being built inside the main here. And an armory going down. Tanks being produced. Siege mode on the way for Azhi. Not sure where that scan went down, Matt. It's hard to find scans when both players are tearing. Okay, Wraith's looking like they're going to try to come up here and harass this mineral line again. Definitely enough juice in the comstat stations for scans, though. And a missile turret there hiding out. Goliaths seem to have moved out. Yeah, Goliaths are down away from the base, though. So the missile turret's going to be the only thing. So much scans going on here. It's hard to keep up with this. Scans are going to be the only thing that's going to be protecting these SCVs here. Wraith's able to get a couple shots off. Here come move in, though, from Azhi into the tank line of WolFix. Good DPS here from the Goliaths. Moving in. They need to move in a little closer to these tanks. There they go. Get a little closer. WolFix's tanks have a good spread, though. Do make pretty good work of these. Do a pretty good job of these Goliaths. So both players pretty much trade their armies there. And then these Wraiths just running down Azhi's tank line, though. And Azhi says, all right, that's enough Wraiths for me. So looks like the Wraith's going to be the tipping point here for WolFix. And match number 1. So match 1 going to WolFix. All right, let's go ahead and get into match 2 of our round 3 TVT matchup between WolFix and Azhi. There we go. The second match is going to be taking place on Radion. This is a 4-player map with a natural just outside the main down the ramp and each 4 corner. A third just beyond the way for each player. And contested 4th bases in between the primary spawn locations. So match 1 goes to WolFix, and I think mainly due to the Wraith play. There's a lot of harassment with the Wraiths by WolFix, and Azhi's mineral line just did a lot of SCV damage, putting Azhi behind an economy there for quite a while. And Azhi had a rough time kind of answering that. It's a delayed reaction to WolFix's Wraiths. Took a little while in getting an eBay back up, but was all Azhi could do. Azhi had to sneak out the SCV out to the 3rd just to hide the eBay, be able to get production on that done. And when both armies traded just outside of WolFix's base, the only thing left really was 1 tank for WolFix and Wraiths. And Azhi had nothing. So the Wraiths making the big difference there in game number 1. We'll have to look and see if both of these players choose to follow a similar build last time and take us into the mid-game, or if this is going to be an early game rush from one of these players. Again, I suspect that the rest of these matches are going to be less than 15 minutes, as both of these players seem to favor an early to mid-game army push. SCV's going out for both players, similar timing. Both SCVs following each other up here to the wrong spawn location. I think Azhi saw that, but WolFix did not see that SCV. I don't think. WolFix's SCV still going up here to check this location. Well, I suppose Azhi's SCV could have been coming out of the main at that time, so I guess I can't entirely blame WolFix for still checking that spawn location. However, Azhi definitely going to get this first scout off at this point. This SCV is going to get in here. Ooh, does not. Actually gets blocked by the Marine and may actually kill this Marine. Ooh, that was a close one. Very, very close, though. Azhi's SCV almost kills the Marine of WolFix, but WolFix able to run the SCV off. Meanwhile, WolFix getting their own SCV in the base of Azhi. Gonna be able to see the factory, the barracks lifted off already. Doesn't see much else. Vulture in production here at the factory. And WolFix, opting to go for the machine shop. So we might see that early tank push from WolFix that we saw in round 1 versus Kimura. This may be another early game tank push, and I have concerns that it might just be that for Azhi. If Azhi's able to come down here and take out these couple Marines, though, this is the risky play for this push. Yeah, there's the tank production already coming. And we're going to know here very soon. Yes, this looks likely going to be an early tank push from WolFix here. Starts another factory, so we're going to be doubling down on tank production. There's tank 1, tank 2 in production. WolFix should run these Marines with this tank. Yes, there it goes. And this should be enough to counter the Vultures and Marines here from Azhi. One Vulture already down. This one going to probably... Nope, going to try and come down here and try to stall the command center. Yeah, so the Wolf makes quick... the tank makes quick work of that for WolFix. And Azhi pulls the Marines back home. Meanwhile, for Azhi's just about to have a tank done and another factory on the way here. Which is definitely a good thing, because this tank's going to be pushing across the map here. Another one's going to be on the way. SCV transfer into the natural for WolFix. Another factory in production. Vulture's going to be on the way. So if there's anything like round 1 versus Kimura, WolFix is going to use that primary factory to pump out tanks and then support the tanks with Vultures from the other 2 factories. This is not going to be quite as effective against Azhi, though, as it was against Kimura. Azhi's able to get some tanks out here already for defense, so WolFix not going to be able to just push right in and end this game just yet. Both players kind of stacking up here. Very similar builds. Injured tank, though, for WolFix. Okay. Azhi's going to come out here and check. See what's going on. WolFix able to split the Vultures out. And all of a sudden, WolFix gets reinforcements from some Vultures. And all of a sudden, WolFix's army looks like it might have the upper hand here. These Vultures going to take the tank shots here, leaving WolFix's tanks... Oh my gosh. And that's it. Wow. So, Azhi just not able to be, or at least feels like they're not able to defend against this. I'm not sure if Azhi knew just how low these tanks were, though. I mean, this tank's 5 out of 150 health. That's so crazy. I'm not sure that Azhi was done there, but Azhi taps out all the same. So, WolFix going to be going on to the finals of our first StarCraft Underground paid tournament. Congratulations, WolFix. Look forward to seeing you in the finals. Thank you all for watching. If you're interested to see more from this tournament, check out the next video. Or if you'd like to take part in one, you can always join us in StarCraft Underground. Link will be in the description. Until then, take it easy.